Okay. Hello, guys. Am I live? Let me double check. Let's see here. Cool. Yes, I am. Everything's working pretty smoothly. Okay. If you're popping in the background, it's because there are fireworks. I am going to warm up with some StarCraft. Oh, no. Okay. Let's play. Making sure that I have all the chats up. Cool. All right. Let's go. Making sure that I have all the chats up. Cool. All right. Oh wait, my audio.
Let's go.
So I don't accidentally
Making
create
sure
a
that I
loop.
have all the chats up.
There we go.
We require more minerals.
I messed up my split. That's why it's a warm-up game, guys. That's why it's a warm-up game. You know, and I also gotta take this off my watch because that screws up my APM. Never do this. No. What? End mission. Restart mission.
We require more minerals.
Still messed up my split, but whatever.
We require more minerals. We require more minerals. We require more minerals. We require more minerals.
Let me turn on the volume on this because I don't want to keep bugging the audience. There you go. Oh, whoop. Darren. Yeah, it's a very rusty game. That's my first. The first game of the day is always terrible. I'm not worried about it. SimCity. Piece of cake. Lurker push. It's like Boxer, but with lurkers instead of tanks. And that's game, I think. Nothing to be proud of, just it was a simple game. So. Yeah, he's done. I'm just playing around now. Clearly his base is gutted. Hello, Pro 50K, the blue chicken. What's up? Hey Josh, how's it going, man? Yeah, I'm not. Just like the description says, the game is not the focus of the live stream. That's really just I'm just opening up. This is my way of relaxing, so I can be as authentic as possible. You know, because when you're nervous, you tend not to be yourself. Can you guys hear me all right? So I'll play until we get into a conversation stemming from one of the content pieces of the blog. So I think that the next thing I need to work on in order to take baby steps into having a guided, focused stream rather than just boring a lot of you guys by playing games in silence that you don't understand that I'm playing. I think perhaps I could load up an article because last night's stream, the very first in this new routine that I'm going to start, it took me hours to get to a point where we could discuss things about the blog. But the moment I was able to get there, I just posted the video. We talked for like an hour straight about fatherhood. It was great. But if I first needed to get there. So the goal is to have very focused 15 to 30 minute streams once a day. Not these long streams where like I'm sort of just wallowing in my own discomfort while I wait for people to observe me and ask a question pertaining to the content. What I could do is just simply this, and maybe we could talk about this, for example. Yeah, I'm rambling right now. Like you can tell if you know me well, you'd be able to sense how nervous I actually am, and that's why I'm playing the games. But ordinarily, I will not be playing video games on the streams. Just the reason why the stream is titled "Becoming Comfortable with Going Live." I think the first 1 to 5 streams, the first 1 to 5 days of doing this, will include me playing some games, to relax. But then after, I'm going to give myself a maximum of five streams like this. But I'm going to try to jump into the water at the third stream, and this is the second one. So I had a stream yesterday. Today's the second stream of getting comfortable. I might have one more stream like this where I'm getting comfortable with going live. And then after that, it's going to be very, very focused, almost like the old school Stefan Molyneux videos, where he would have like a very focused discussion, and he would have this PowerPoint presentation in the background, screen and screen. You can already see I'm doing that right now, screen and screen. And then we could, I say what I need to say, Q&A, we have a discussion, or a free-flowing discussion, and then that's the end of the stream. Focused, with a point, and valuable to everyone's time. Just for now, it's about me getting comfortable. So, if you guys have any questions for or pertaining to the content of the blog, such as like what I have on screen, what it means to choose a wife, or let's go to the dashboard posts. Right, any of these, right? What it means to choose a wife, when polygamy is and isn't acceptable, stop trying to match him. This is when a man is ready to be a father. This seems to be a really good one. Got 5 likes. What is love? That's like the deep philosophical things deep philosophical topics of discussion is what I personally prefer to talk about for Norton's Mind. Now the schedule will be, if I was to load up Bravo, and I'm probably going to do this right now because I need to work. So I'm not just going to be playing games only either. I'm also going to be actively working on Norton's Mind during these streams so that you guys are able to actually see the back end a bit of how, like, I really am the guy setting up all these emails. I'm doing all of this. It's really me. So when you guys see these, so like, yes, there are emails that you can tell are sent out to a larger list. It really actually is me writing them though. So there is also that level of authenticity as well. I'm not having other people write my emails for me. It's not ChatGPT. It's really me. And I'm just speaking to that list. So what I'm probably going to work on now, instead of playing another game, is sending out this email while discussing the schedule. I don't know why it's taking so long. That was a misclick. Why Bravo? Bravo is my internet, my email client. Oh, here we go. All right. So what I'm currently working on is sending out an email that, ignore the title. It's actually about me going live, right? I'm going live. I don't know. I might change that title later. All right. So this is what I'm currently working on. At the forefront of everything is an email that's about to get sent out to the entire list that says "Speak to me in person," and it's going to be the person's first name, right? So yeah, so you can see that there's a level of scaled automation, but it really is me behind the email that the entire list receives, right? So speak to me in person, George, Josh, or whoever it is on the list, or at least as close as you can get to doing so, because I'm going live and regularly from now on. Hence what I'm doing literally right now at the same time. So here's a schedule, subject to change, right? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and the topic will be Norton's Mind content, philosophy and relationships. On Tuesday and Thursday, it'll be marketing and business, right? So I have 2 Substack blogs that I'm building the reader base of, and that would be OmiFirm and Norton's Mind. And if you don't know what OmiFirm is, I'll go here. OmiFirm is what has hitherto put the majority of the food on the table for me and my family for the past 10 years. And that is my marketing firm. And I don't know why is there something wrong with it? That's it. That's odd. Why is it misloading? I'll let my wife know. Karina, when you get the chance, check. I'm sending my wife a voicemail. Yes, on live. Karina, when you get a chance, check to see if the omifirm.com website is loading correctly for you. I'm getting some sort of a glitch. First thing I noticed was the title of the page says Home OmiFirm, and then the way that it loads has some sort of a blank error. Not a 404, but just if you could look into that and let me know what's going on. Thank you. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. So my wife, as you can tell, is basically, I don't know what's going on with the website, but perhaps another thing that I could show you would be, in its stead, would be Upwork.com. All right, so I run a small marketing firm, but it serves great clients. By great, I mean I serve everywhere from small businesses to Fortune 500 companies, or at least I have throughout my career as a marketing strategist. And the blog that I've been building for it, right, you see here, 95% job success rate, expert vetted, over $500,000 earned, over 177 different companies that and this is not my website, this is Upwork, right? So this is nearly 200 companies. It's actually more than this. This number's higher because not every company I've worked with comes through Upwork. Upwork is a great asset, a personal branding asset that is a third-party verifiable source of information pertaining to the authenticity of my work. So basically, I'm a fractional. More often than not, I'm contracted as a fractional chief marketing officer for any given corporation or small business. And what that is you're basically the marketing strategist for the company. To put it simply, you have Steve Jobs and you have Wozniak in Apple. Wozniak was classifiably the CTO, Chief Technology Officer. He was the brain that built the technology, or at least the original core technology that was the first versions of Apple, the Apple products. Then you have Steve Jobs, who was also a genius in his own way, but was actually the front man. He was the marketer. Steve Jobs was the marketing strategist of Apple. And then, later on, as he evolved in his role, he then assumed more of a technical role. But whenever you think of Apple, you think of Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs, even though he didn't classify him, he was technically the CEO of Apple. His day-to-day functionality was closer to that of a marketing strategist while being the front of the company. Ordinarily, I am not the front of the company, but I am the marketing strategist. And by that, I mean I develop the strategy for various companies to increase their sales. Right? You can visit this profile. I don't know what's going on with their website right now, but you can visit this profile to corroborate what I'm saying. And this basically breaks it down very simply about what I do for the majority of money that I've made thus far over the past 10 years. Again, Upwork is not the sole source of information. I get a lot of clients through LinkedIn. So if I was to visit LinkedIn right now, you'd see how many thousands of connects I have. Right, messages coming in. So I network with businesses on LinkedIn, and you see I've got over 7,000 connections or followers on LinkedIn. It's got all of my portfolio information, different companies, photos of different companies I've built, even if they're small experiences. So basically my online resume is there on LinkedIn. So that would be the OmiFirm blog, omifirm.substack.com. Right. So, and I just launched this blog, so there's only a few articles on it. However, this is for entrepreneurship. So I have 2 Substack blogs that I'm building with the going live, and that is the Norton's Mind, nortonsmind.substack.com, right, which is my more personal philosophy blog and how that ties into literature that I write, like Yield. And then we have the marketing website, which some people have paid. So different people follow me for different reasons. Not everybody follows me for the deeper philosophical content. So what this is meant to say, this email that's about to go out, is that on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I am going to be discussing the philosophical content. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to be discussing the marketing and business content. Make sense? And then what I've just done is upload a video to YouTube. And I'm going to take this link and put it inside of here. Let's see here. And this is the coding of the email. There are far simpler email marketing platforms, like low code, no code. But me personally, because I am a programmer, I know several different programming languages. I just personally prefer the cold code interfaces because it gives me, at my level of proficiency in CSS, HTML5, and other technically the scripting, web scripting languages. I wouldn't classify them as programming languages, but okay. So more accurately, I can say I know several web scripting languages as well as some computer programming languages, C, C++, Python, that sort of thing. I may not seem like it, but I do. With that said, the cold code interfaces, where it's just it gives me the most customizability for creating my emails. So and then you just see how that code translates into this preview. So click the button below. Click the button below to watch a sample video, a sample live stream. Right, so as you can see here, I first filmed yesterday's live stream as a test, as a sample, and now I have clipped it. By that I mean I removed like 3 out of 4 hours of content, because it's all 3 out of 4, like 75% of the stream was just me sort of like messing around in chess or messing around in StarCraft, which was the game I started this very stream today with. And a lot of people don't know what I'm doing. Right? I mean, chess absolutely has its own community. StarCraft absolutely has its own community. But the gaming is not the point of the stream, as I've delineated multiple times throughout both streams and also in the description of the stream. It's just simply to help me transition from my base modality into one of speaking live. With that said, I clipped the best parts that were relevant to the actual philosophical content of Norton's Mind. And now that it's on YouTube, I can use it as a sample to introduce people to my streams at scale. So once I finish writing this email, I will then set this up as an automated inbound email that will automatically fire for every single new person that enters my free email list. So everybody everybody will be informed at scale, systematically, about my streams, and they'll have a chance to click on the button and watch a sample of it, which would have been the best parts of yesterday's live stream, and forevermore. So I create a system that makes it very easy to scale the process at which I build parasocial relationships with people interested in my personal brand, or should I say more accurately, the content that I produce for my personal brand. Lord Gorshak says, I love your posts and I'm stoked to see you streaming. Keep it up. Bless you. Thank you. And likewise, right on to you. Okay, so I'm going to finish this email. Right now, live on stream. If you guys have any questions, as I wrote in the description of this video, there is no direct point. This is not a focused live stream. This is me just getting comfortable with going live. It's me setting the habit and taking the baby steps out of my comfort zone. So you can ask me anything. It's a free for all. Ask me anything, and it is, especially if it's pertaining to either of the content. If you want to talk about business, let's talk about business. If you want to talk about philosophy, fatherhood, masculinity, love and romance, if you want to talk about it, like it's just a free for all live stream for now. So just leave a comment in the chat, either of the chats, whether this is whether you're watching me on Twitter, YouTube, or hey Clea, whether you're in Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, just leave a comment. I may not see it right away, partially because of the natural digital delay between the stream, like the stimuli and what the lag between the communication. But after I respond to one thing or monologue about some other thing, I will take the time, check the chat, see who says what, and then address what you said. All right, but for now, I'm going to finish this email and hard code this email. Okay. Any personal questions you're curious about that you'd like an answer for in the line? Yep, okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. And I've saved templates for each of these emails that I modify in various ways to make it more time efficient for me, so that I don't have to hard code every single email from scratch, right? Because that's just why would I need to do that, right? So what do you guys think? Do you think there's anything I could add to this email before I send it? What are your thoughts? Leave a comment. I'm about to send it to the wider list. Save as template. No? No one thinks. Hey, what's up, man? I'm literally the light blue party. I always engage with. Talking is very easy for me, but for some reason, when you ask, my mind goes blank. Ha ha ha. I hate speech to text. I'm reading Kalea's comment or comments. Okay, all right, no problem. So what I'm going to do is send this out. But first, I'm going to send a test email. If you guys come up with any ideas at all, just let me know. And I could always go back and modify this. I can't modify the email once it has been sent out, but what I can do is, why isn't it clicking? What I can do is, once it does get sent out, there we go. Once it does get sent out, I can modify for any others that get automatically sent out in the future. So right now I'm pulling up my email. Okay, talking to somebody left an email. Okay. Okay, seems to work. Oh wait, I could turn the image into it. That's what I haven't done yet. Okay, so turn the image into a link. Orange mind. That's the image circ. Right, yeah, that's the link. Let's see if that link works. Okay, yes, it does. All right. Okay, so every single person will automatically know about this sample video. And there's somebody who manually asked to unsubscribe. The link doesn't work for them. Like, okay. So I'm gonna unsubscribe this dude as per his request. Let me save and quit. Okay, so my wife just reported back. She says that you might have even seen that. So let's see if the website loads well now. Yeah, okay, looks fine. I don't know what caused that. Maybe it was just some sort of a glitch of some kind. All right, here's the marketing website that ties into the OMI, the Substack blog, right? So you can go to the company post and Mike Norton's post in particular, and that leads to the Substack blog, right? So if you want to check it out, if you're curious, go to omifirm.com. The link is in the description. I'm going to unsubscribe this guy who manually asked for it, Terry. Okay. And more actions, delete permanently. 1. He's gone. Okay, now I'm going to go back and send this out. My wife is my assistant. Yeah, people don't see her because she's generally not in the camera at all, by her own choice. Yet she is highly valuable, as you can see. Like, she's like if I was an archetypal Iron Man, she would be my Pepper Potts. She's always there, and she's very skilled, and she doesn't get enough credit, to be honest. Okay, schedule. Let's see here. Okay. Send now. Okay. And now I'm going to add this to my automations. Very simple automation setup. I'm going to add this one toward the beginning. Let me know if you guys check your emails. Let me know if you guys actually have received it. Those who are a part of the email list. We do it hard to find you. I'm going to add it here. So duplicate one day. Let's go template and live sharing 1. Design. Just make sure. No, okay, so I need to fix that. But at least it's good that you guys see that, like, this really is me. Like, I don't have like I don't use ChatGPT or anything like that. I actually read and write my own code. Not that this is very impressive code anyway, but it's like you see conceptually, like I really am who I say I am. I really actually do have these skills. ARF live stream. What? Let's see here. Okay, so that works. All right, that link works. Closing that out, use this design in the automation. regularly from now on. Sending the email that gets sent out. The email I send it with. Michael at Norton's Mind. Mike Norton. Track who does what. Emails. And then that's that. Exit. Wait. Let me see. Oh, it's my and by the way, no, it's not. It's no longer. I'm actually going to change this title. That's an outdated title because I remember. If you guys those who have been following me for a while, I realized that the majority of my audience, especially the majority of my paying audience, are women. Consists of women, right? So I thought when I initially started building this email automation sequence. I thought initially to target women, but I've continually tweaked it over time. So right now it's not Norton's Mind Substack women. It's just Norton's Mind Substack. So I'm seeing both males and females becoming paid subscribers now, and it's just a natural process of tweaking innovatively as you progress in your own entrepreneurial journey. We do have Power Defines You. Wait 1 day. Send you watch me live. Cool. That works. Okay. And that'll be that. This feels so normal, like when I watch my friend Carl work while we chill on Discord. Lady, he'd be writing stories for his books, and I would be gaming or watching a Korean drama. LOL. Okay. Josh says, I think a lot of us believe you are the actual author of all the written content you send out. I am. Though I've been accused of using ChatGPT from other people's mental limitations. Joshua asks, or Joshua on YouTube, because I think I'm talking to two different Joshes. This channel it goes into different topics. So this channel, Joshua, is in a transitional period of becoming way more focused on deep philosophy pertaining to masculinity, family relationships, and fatherhood. At least this channel. However, it's in a transitory period because it wasn't like that always. If you check the video history, I've done a lot of different things throughout the past 10 to 15 years without really caring so much about subscribers or everybody cares about subscribers, but not really making that the focus, not really trying so hard. And now what you're watching is the transition into the focused topics of, for this channel at least, masculinity, fatherhood, love and romance, that sort of thing. Josh says, you never struck me as a ChatGPT guy. I didn't have, I'm a millennial and I come from the pre-ChatGPT era, right? So I've experimented with ChatGPT. ChatGPT often uses the EM dash, right? So I use the EM dash, right? So I'm going to just type a random post here for you guys to see. Right. Okay. So sorry, I just saw a message. Right. So let's say blah blah blah. I went to the park today. Right. And that quickly I can type in EM dash, but most people online don't use EM dashes. Right. So that they might see my use of the EM dash and think that that I'm using ChatGPT. But it's just I write, and also my use of semicolons. I went to the park today. Saw a dog, right? And I'll do that, or and my use of semicolons, right? So I'll say I love people with black hair. Therefore, because I have black hair, I must love myself. I don't know. I'm just random sentence, right? And you see how smoothly I typed just then, live on stream. My use of the proper grammatically proper use of a semicolon and the EM dash. But the average person online doesn't write. They write neither that smoothly nor that nor with the use of these items of these markings of the English language, right? But ChatGPT does. All right, so I can create textual content almost as quickly and as complex as ChatGPT can, but I'm a natural human, and it's easy in this era to think. I don't think any of you guys do, but I have absolutely been accused of using ChatGPT for everything that I do, like absolutely. But no, as you can see on live stream, it's really me. I actually code. I actually know these things. I had to. I come from an era in which that just ChatGPT wasn't available to me. So I actually took the time to develop those skills and that deep inner repertoire of knowledge pertaining to the various programming language. It's authentically me. All right. Okay. So what's going on here? Great reading. All right, so this is just, any questions about the content? You click on the links in the descriptions. I'll go up here. Click on the links in the descriptions, either one. See what you like, if anything. And yeah, see what you like, if anything, and let me know if you wanted to make it a topic of discussion for this particular live stream. Did you guys receive the email? Those who are watching me? You check your emails, you should have received it by now. Yeah, that's crazy. Your page has been way before. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like Kalia. It's kind of like being on steroids, or should I say, being accused of being on steroids. Like right now, if I was to take my shirt off, I may not look like it, but like if the camera really doesn't do me justice, but like if I really sit up, you can tell I've got muscular, like deep muscular definition. But if I was to take my shirt, you'd be surprised at how often I've been accused of steroids. And I'm not a massively huge dude. I'm taller than average, but I'm more. I think the correct term is mesomorph, out of the three major body types. But when I don't look like much in regular clothing, especially not on camera. But when the shirt comes off, I've absolutely gotten accused of steroids. No, I don't have any steroids. I've just been training relatively consistently for the past 20 years. Right? Not everybody cheats in the various aspects of their lives, various dimensions of their lives. When you brought up what your wife does, that actually clicked in my mind for a whole entire topic question to be asked, but I am trying to think about how to form that because it relates to my actual life. So maybe I should write that somewhere else. Well, however you feel suited to ask the question. But that is definitely, I could see how that, and maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, Kalia, how that could tie into a topic about the structure of building family businesses, because that's exactly what we are. OmiFirm is a family business. It's classifiably a sole proprietorship at the moment, but you can absolutely contract people. And my wife and children, one of my children are currently learning. One of my children is currently learning LinkedIn, and they're learning how to generate leads on LinkedIn and how to set meetings, set appointments, business appointments for me with other business clients on LinkedIn. As you've seen, right? So there's Upwork, there's LinkedIn, there's the websites, right? So I'm able to secure contracts from a variety of different sources. With that in mind, how to build a family business with the specific focus on being business itself. That is absolutely a topic we could go into for sure. If you'd like to, if nobody has any objections, then we can make that the focus of this this live stream. Yeah, so I'm not worried about it. I'm actually glad that that I'm able to demonstrate my talents on live stream, even when it comes down to like my StarCraft skill, because it's like it allows me a venue to demonstrate that I truly am who I say I am. And I actually thank that one troll, and I said this on the last stream yesterday. That troll was an asshole. But I did choose to look at his presence as a kind of catalyst and as a threshold guardian, a sort of cosmic fire lit under my ass to show more of myself, to be more vulnerable on live streams like these, so that it's not just me, because the average person I could absolutely empathize with how some people, given certain psychological limitations, especially based on experience, their respective experiences or traumas, could see how someone like me would hide behind writing. And as long as I'm behind, I could write anything about what my capabilities are. I could write anything about anything, right? But let's see it live. If I'm really who I say I am. And while the guy was absolutely rude, he was simultaneously absolutely necessary. So by the second game that we were playing together, the second StarCraft game, and I'm so sad that the OBS sort of wigged out and I couldn't. I recorded 2 of the 3 games, but during the second game we had this very, very laconic yet important conversation, and where we mutually exchanged respect. And you could actually see, if you could see the middle video, and you could see the transition to where he starts off in the first game disrespecting me severely. He's like, "Do you even know how to use this thing?" Meaning like the chat in Battle.net. And then, but by the second game, he's like, "You have talent. Like you indeed, you. Okay, I guess you weren't lying." You know what I mean? And I don't blame him necessarily for that. I'm not going to play victim, because that is a bit on me. It's entirely on me. If I chose to stay within a comfort zone, talking about my skills, talking about my experience, rather than just simply demonstrating it. So now the push into demonstrating that I am who I say I am, that my posts really are written by me, I really am the brain behind all these things that are going on, helps significantly with building trust with a given audience. You guys. No, not everybody likes me. Like, for example, one guy just unsubscribed. Though he seems like he just seemed like the complaining type. He can't please everybody, but like he sent me emails before. He just seemed like the type that was never satisfied with anything that I could do. Before he was complaining about the cadence of the emails. Then he just seemed like a complainer. So I'm obviously not going to try to keep someone. If they want to go. That doesn't bother me. I mean, every person who signs up matters, at least to some extent or another. So I do care. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't care. But at the same time, it's like, if you don't like it here, then go. By all means, be free. Yeah, I'm not trying to keep you here. Go find content. There's an infinite ocean of content out there by creators that you would be a match for. Be free, have fun. Yeah, you can't please complainers, right? So I just let the guy go without question. But for the other people who don't mind my personality, they don't have a problem with the content. They don't have a problem with my cadence. Then more power to them, and I hope they enjoy. And I am listening to what they say. So I've not seen any objections in any of the chats pertaining to talking about how to structure a family business. I'm going to wait maybe for a few more minutes to see if anybody else disagrees. And then we'll make that the focus of the chat, and then I'll log off. Well, to his credit, in his defense, he did say that he tried the unsubscribe link multiple times and it wasn't working for him, which is weird to me because it seems to work for everybody else. But I didn't argue, so I just manually removed him right here on the stream. Okay, so structuring a family business. If we go here to my post, okay, so this article, to start your business, first understand who you are, right? And the subline is, a good company is a good person. And throughout this article, if you'll see it, a good company is a good person. It goes into how your business is ultimately a reflection of who you are. As your business is a reflection of who you are, building a family business therein would depend upon how well you are able to identify the strengths of your family members and developing a valuable role for them with what those strengths are in the given company. And that is how to build a family business in the axiomatic nutshell. That is the F equals MA of building a family business that absolutely unpacks, that could be just true to the physics equation, or force equals mass times acceleration. It's a very simple, condensed equation, yet can be applied in an infinite number of complex ways. So when developing a family business, you need to first make sure that you understand their strengths, and you simultaneously need to understand where and how to apply those strengths. And then the tertiary aspect is the moral code of the family. So a family business can be an absolute, I wouldn't recommend starting a family business for every family, because businesses naturally have ups and downs. There are going to be hard times. Your family members are inevitably going to fail you at certain points. And what are you going to do? Are you going to fire them? Are you going to, like, what? They're your family, right? So that's absolutely, I've absolutely run into those problems where if they were not my family, I may have in fact fired them. So how do you work through those issues, right? And it comes down to, you can see how a family business can be great for the cohesion of a family, and simultaneously can be, depending upon the family's culture and leadership style, it can be the very thing that tears the family apart too. Because you'll see a lot of people online throughout the world saying, never mix family with business. And that is essentially, I've completely disregarded that. That's exactly what I've done, is mix family and business. Throughout the process of building a familial empire. Or at least laying the foundations of one, should I say, more accurately, more honestly. With that said, Yeah, even the way I met my wife, that was mixing business with romance because we were both coworkers, we were colleagues, teachers in China. So yeah, I've always ignored that rule, and it's not burned me. It's not in the end, at least not so far. It's not. It's been 10 years running, going strong, and I much rather have a family business than not. I swear by family businesses, right? So my wife has absolutely made mistakes pertaining to the business. That's required training. We've argued. I'll be very real with you. Of course we've argued. No, not to like to the extent of domestic violence or anything like that. But we've absolutely had disagreements. There have been moments of disappointment, but there have absolutely, to be fair, more moments of triumph and pride than there have been failures. The thing is, I wouldn't recommend a family business to the average family because you need the right glue betwixt you, each member of the family that participates in the business, as well as the right moral code, so that your business does not actually become the very thing that tears you apart. When you're mixing money, you're talking about money and you have deadlines and things like that. But as far as the canonical story of human nature is concerned, the canonical story of humanity itself, the family business was the original business. Let's say if we take a blacksmith, a blacksmith was seldom a blacksmith. That's why you have the last name blacksmith, right? You have John Carpenter, right? These last names, if you trace them back, generally you go back to a guy who actually was a carpenter, who actually was a blacksmith, who actually was equestrian in whatever his work was, or he actually was an archer or something. Whatever their last names were, and then they may not, that family may not have been that trade, may not have participated in whatever that respective trade was for hundreds of years, but at some point, somewhere, if it's an authentic bloodline, somebody, if your last name was Archer, somebody in your family was an archer, was the origin of that last name, right? So that begs the question, why would you literally name your family after your profession or whatever it was, right? So if you look at movies like Kingdom of Heaven, particularly the director's cut, the main character, starring Orlando Bloom, named Balian, who later is, and I love that movie, by the way. I've loved that movie for years. Whose father, and that's actually here. That's where this picture comes from. That is from Kingdom of Heaven. That's Orlando Bloom's father, if you haven't seen the movie. Balian, or Orlando Bloom, was a blacksmith. And so was his father. There's a scene in which, and his name's Godfrey. So Liam Neeson's character named Godfrey is at this dinner before the scene. It was the scene before this one that we see in the screenshot. And he asks, Godfrey has been crusading in the Middle East for years. He's been gone for like 20 years. He comes back in search of his son, who is Orlando Bloom, but he doesn't know what his son looks like at this point because he's been gone for 20 years, right? It's in ancient times. It's not like they have Zoom. It's not like he can like digitally keep up with his son. This is the ancient times, right? So he's trying to find his son, and he doesn't even know what his son looks like. So the way he finds his son is through the trade, the family trade. And in this scene, Godfrey says, I forget the exact wording of the scene, but it's, who is the blacksmith? Who is the son of the blacksmith of my time? And the blacksmith of the time now would be Balian. So he sort of like asked an indirect question without giving too much personal information about his private life, about who the blacksmith of his time was, meaning him, and the son of the blacksmith would have to be deductively his son. You go to, the scene cuts to Balian of Ibelin. He's not Balian. At that point in the movie, he's not Balian of Ibelin yet, but he is just Balian the blacksmith. So in modern times, his name would be Balian Blacksmith. And that was his trade. Now, Balian, as the main protagonist of the story, he inherited Liam Neeson's forge. And right in the opening scene, you see Orlando Bloom. He busts open. It's like you can see in this screenshot. It's really cold. It's snowing, right? So like he busts open this barrel of icy water and like rubs his face to start his day, and you can see him start to fire up the forge, and he starts banging away, and you can see he has like at least one assistant there, and he's staring off. There's one point where he's staring off into the distance, and he sees the grave of his wife, or a point where maybe it wasn't his grave. No, I don't think it was his grave. The grave of his wife, but it was some hut on his land, at which his wife, he had a very pleasant memory of his wife, who had died in childbirth. No. The child died in childbirth, and then the wife, depressed, goes and self deletes. I have to watch what I say because I'm on live. But if you're paying attention to the subcommunicated details, it's such brilliant writing that it's written in an almost Hemingway iceberg theory style, meaning that there's so much more to this. You have to be really paying attention of what's really going on. There's so many different lines of throughput that are not spoken. So basically, Balian had not even just Balian. Godfrey, the guy on screen, Liam Neeson's character, had a family business. And his son inherited the family business, and the entire family was involved. The wife was the assistant, and Balian at that point every day making his trade. That is actually the traditional, like the really ancient traditional family unit. Your family was your tribe, and you worked together to make a living. That's how you survived together. Even when you look at the concept of knights and the coats of arms, what were knights? What were noble families, if not factories that produced warriors? Right? You would learn. You'd have a patriarchal leader of the house. He would have a wife or wives, depending upon what culture we're talking about and what time period. Those wives would yield offspring, and out of those who were sons, they would be trained as warriors. And those warriors would serve your house. And your house, your sigil, your coat of arms, was basically the ancient version of an icon, like a company emblem. That was your when you went to tournaments, or represented your king and country on the battlefield. That was your icon, your banner, right? In other words, you were a company, a family business that produced warriors, and that was your logo. Only later, centuries later, did we take the concept and invent the corporation, and what was the coat of arms became the company logo. But originally, family business was how the world operated. And corporations are evolutionarily a new thing. Okay. With that said, I swear by mixing business, romance, and business. I swear by it. Now, modern day, that's probably it is far more legally dangerous to do that, considering how divorce now is not the same as it was then. Granted, but it is the original family. You worked together to produce income or to make a living. If you are a farmer, you weren't just the farmer. Your whole family. You were a family of farmers. So with that said, when you have a family business, somebody has to be the leader, right? And this is where feminists will absolutely hate me, but so what? Somebody has to be the leader. Traditionally, it was the man. That's just a fact. And your role in the family was determined by the level of respect that patriarchal leader had for you and your skills. what you were able to accomplish as a family, and you work together through the ups and downs, right? And that's when, during the ancient times, where families were on a whole other level of thickness, and the bonds were so much tighter than you will see today. So people often ridicule me, or they look at me oddly for having the ancient mentality that I have. My ancient approach, my ancient yet pragmatic approach to the way that I built my family. Yet it is critical to why we are so successful as a family, why we can endure so much, right? So everything that happened in Alaska, everything that happened in China, and yet here we are still strong, 10, 11 years going strong, and like there are no major problems between me and my wife. We are rock solid, and we make money together. That's the way it is supposed to be. That's not special. That's a returning to the way it used to be. That's a returning to the original family. So my answer to your question, Kalia, is summarized thus as: determine who's going to be the leader, as necessary to form a chain of accountability for keeping the business operating. Ordinarily, it's the man, the husband, the father, the patriarch. In my family, it is that way. Then, whoever that leader is, that leader should assess each person according to their strengths, what they already know, and what they are willing to learn as they grow. Develop a business plan, and there you go. Follow the business plan to success. All right. Josh says there's such a massive difference with how trades are regarded from back then to. I know. That's why, Josh, I know that my ancient approach is almost considered eccentric to a lot of people, but it works, right? That's why I yes, I have an ancient mentality, but I also simultaneously stress pragmatism, practicality. In the same way, like, okay, yes, I'm Norse. Yeah, you don't see me on Instagram waving swords around. Like, there are people that do that, right? And Hollywood pagans is what I call them. There are Hollywood Norse pagans. They're Norse in form, but impractical in function. I am ancient in substance, while practical in function. To me, the modern sword is the gun. And if you take that concept, you can apply it, ancient pragmatism, to basically every aspect of one's life. Kalia says, that was a great explanation. Thank you. Thank you very much. What's up, John? How's it going? All right, so ordinarily, so that was a strong question, right? If you guys want to talk about that further. Now, I would, at this point, end the stream, or lean toward ending the stream, because that would be the focus of the discussion: family businesses, how to set up, or like the substance of family businesses. The focus discussion. So I'm going to clip this and turn this into Omi Firm content rather than Norton's Mind content. And that'll be that. Now, I am going to remain on the stream for at least a little while longer. John says, "What's up, brother? Sweating it out with the rest." Okay. And Josh says, "Oh yeah, man, I'm on your side. Modernity is where we find people who can't regard the profession in a complete way." Oh yeah, 100%, 100%, Josh. Good to see you again, no matter how short. No, I'm going to stay online, because remember, there was no focus to this stream, and there's not going to be a focus to the next one. However, by the 4th, 5th, or definitely at maximum at the latest, the 6th stream, there will be, in fact, be a focus. And there's going to be a title, and we're going to stay on topic. I'm not going to be like... So right now, I feel the temptation to play another round of StarCraft while I talk. Like, I'm probably going to play StarCraft and just look at the comments and see what you guys are saying, and then maybe we can have another conversation, right? But for now... right, so I don't mind being very flexible with time, staying on for 2-3 hours, and just kind of going in and out of intricate discussions while having break times and whatnot. I don't mind. But throughout the near future, likely next week, if not next week, then definitely the week after, these discussions will be highly focused. And if you'd like to guide the discussions, if you'd like me, like Kalia, exactly, using Kalia as an example, she asked a question, or she made a statement talking about, hey, we could talk about this. Roger that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, right? And that is exactly, so as long as, if you guys interact with me, I'll interact with you. Let's talk about it. We were playing this when everyone is around. What do you mean when everyone is around? When everyone is around within your vicinity? Well, you could clip it, Kalia. So no, not you. I will clip it. So you can, so instead of showing them like a 3-hour live stream video and trying to like figure out where I said what, relax, because like, just like right here, if you can see, this YouTube video, I rescued my daughter from a riptide on earning your children's respect. Last night, I spoke at length with John, who right now is watching me from YouTube, and to make it simpler for the viewer, you could just wait for me to clip those important parts of the live stream. That way, you could just easily send whoever it is that you want to show the video to the link, and then they could just watch it from beginning to end, instead of having to sift through hours of me doing what may be really boring, quiet work, irrelevant to the other discussion. So John says, tell your family I said thanks for sharing you. Oh, thank you. That's an honor. Hey, I love the organic stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna boot up StarCraft for now. If you guys want to read through the blogs, check the links in the description. And just like Kalia, and thank you so much, Kalia, because you can see how, like, I'm a bit reserved. I'm a bit introverted. Actually, I'm extremely introverted. But the moment you get me going on a topic, you can tell, like, I really know what the hell I'm talking. Like, the moment you get me to open up, I can speak at length on and in great detail with examples on various topics without stop, organically. Right, so I just need that catalyst. I need that feedback from you guys. I need that stimuli in order to get me to open up and say, oh yeah, let me open that memory file in the back of my mind, and then give a collegiate level lecture on it. Okay. John says, I mean, I came in on the back end, so I caught the back end of the heraldry and family business discussion. You have of your own made a sort of coat of arms of your own, but your business don't all have the same icon. See, now, okay, so I'm going to hold off on playing StarCraft. Let me address this. Okay, so John is absolutely correct. Let me see. Let me show you how I've built. Let me break down into detail how I've built laying the foundations of my family empire. And I do believe empire is the correct term to use. Okay, so let me show you, even though we're small, right? Let me show you the actual ring. So this is my ring. And again, my wife, gotta love her, she designed it. I described it, but she designed it. So that's her drawing. And we turned it into an actual ring. So you can see here, it's real, right? So that's what we use to mark the letters. You can see here, right? So with that said, you have, for me to explain this, perhaps I can go into a diagram for you guys. I can draw a diagram live for how everything works in explicit detail. Board, new. Okay, so can you guys see this? Yes, you can. Okay, cool. All right, so here is literally the structure of how I built my family empire. And John, I'm answering your question about, okay, what about the symbols, the various symbols? Okay, so there's one family symbol and only one, right? And that is this one, right? That is the ring. And that is, I didn't say anything, but that is eventually going to be the OmiFirm icon. I just haven't changed it yet. Okay, so that's eventually going to be this. Right, I'm going to eventually change the icon to from that. Oh, by the way, speaking of Kingdom of Heaven, do you know what mask that is? That mask is a replica of King Baldwin IV, the character in Kingdom of Heaven. And I searched for years to find the right artist who could not only create this icon, but to create an actual replica, a physical replica of King Baldwin IV's mask. And I had it in Alaska. It took me years to get it, and I lost it due to the tragic events that occurred in Alaska. So now I have to contact that same artist to rebuild me the mirror image replica of King Baldwin IV's mask. I used to have it, and I used to have it as a desk prop because he was my favorite. King Baldwin IV was my favorite character. All right. So anyway, what does OmiFirm mean? OmiFirm means Odeus Marketing and Investing. So right now, OmiFirm is a sole proprietorship. The moment we are finished recovering from the indirect consequences of the tragedies that occurred in Alaska, we're going to convert OmiFirm into an LLC holding company. The icon is going to switch from this, the mask of King Baldwin IV, to this. This is going to be the icon. Now, a holding company, and you can already see because it's a marketing and investment firm, right? Marketing and investment, right? And so why and that's not just like a narcissistic titling. If we go to nortonsmind.com, you can see I have actually already begun investing in companies, startups, right? So it's like this. No matter what I do for my marketing contracts, there are only so many hours in the week. So no matter what, even if I set my own rates, in order to be marketable as a marketing strategist, pun intended, I can only charge but so much to remain competitive when securing contracts. So that's when you can see the fluctuating price of. You might have noticed the detail. Go there. You might have noticed the detail when I showed this page. I'm going to show it again, where it says $45 per hour. That will actually vary. It depends on how much I charge per hour. Will depend on demand for me. It depends on my bandwidth. How many clients am I working with at a time? So I've charged all the way up to $150 per hour. Like you can see here, there is a point at which I was charging $100 an hour. You can see here in my history. So sometimes it ranges from generally $40 to $100 an hour. But even so, even when I'm charging whatever it is that I'm charging, even charging $100 an hour for my intellect in helping people to build their businesses. And you can see here, it's like it's not a scam. Like I'm getting back-to-back 5-star reviews. Literally 95% of the businesses I touch succeed. All right, so this isn't a case of me being one of those kind of guys that's in a that stand in front of a Lamborghini they can't afford. No, I'm legitimate, college educated in this. And 95% of the businesses I touch succeed, and they leave stellar reviews, and a lot of them come back. As a matter of fact, I have an 80, well, it fluctuates, but on average throughout the year, I'll have an 80% client returning rate. With that in mind, my nose itches, sorry. Even with charging $100+ an hour, I can only ever make but so many dollars per week. So no matter what, I'm capped. And I'm still trading time for money, my personal time for money. So what is the way out of that? The answer is in how I don't actually own percentages of these companies, at least not most of them. Keyword, at least not most of them. So I started to think, what if I had met Mark Zuckerberg way back 20+ years ago, when Facebook was when he was still literally traveling from college to college in seminars trying to pitch Facebook to college students. Back when nobody had ever really heard of Facebook. It was just like some random college experiment that was based on dating, and they eventually evolved it over time into the Facebook that it is today. What if I was in that audience with the skills and knowledge that I have now? And what if in this audience watching Mark Zuckerberg speak, I knew what Facebook was going to become? Let's say if I traveled back in time, and I am who I am, and I knew that Facebook was going to become this massive multi-billion-dollar tech giant, this tech titan within the stock market. Do you think that I would charge Mark Zuckerberg $100 an hour? Hell no. I wouldn't charge Mark Zuckerberg anything for my skills as a CMO. I would tell him, let me be the chief marketing officer of the company in exchange for 10% of your shares. All of a sudden, flash forward 10 years, 15 years, I'd be a billionaire. Even though I'd be offering the same exact services that I do on Upwork. So when I came to this Satori, this enlightenment of how to break out of the income gap, I started doing exactly that. So if you go to nortonsmind.com, you'll see a section called investment. And then you'll see I've experimented with different startups, but the one I have the most confidence in right now is a startup called Dark Lock Studios. And it's a tabletop role-playing game that is set to rival Dungeons and Dragons. So you can already see that I'm laying these chess pieces one by one. I have a very long-term bird's eye view of not just myself, but generations. I'm thinking generations ahead. And I've said this multiple times, both in my previous videos, the racial content that I took down, and you can tell in the way that my writing style of Facebook posts, I'm not just, I write in a very almost Marcus Aurelian style. That's like I'm speaking into eternity. And that's because I am. That's very deliberate. That's not an accident. I'm not just speaking to you guys. I'm simultaneously speaking to my great-great-grandchildren. Right. So and that's why it's very easy to misunderstand me. How I might word some things online. But with that said, I digress. Now that you have that in context about, okay, I'm going to start owning percentages of companies, right? Actually, I already do own a percentage of this, but I'm not going to go into that. So right now we are about to launch this. As a matter of fact, this weekend we're about to finish the website, at least the Mach 1 version of the website, and start a fundraiser for it, and start private fundraising for it. So this is actually almost set to launch. So this is great. This is actually excellent timing that you guys asked me the questions about the business. So with that said, I gradually transitioned over time, or I have been gradually transitioning over time, not charging money for my personal time. Like from the majority of people I do charge because I have to balance, using StarCraft terms, I have to balance micro with macro. I have to balance, okay, what are the bills that I need to pay now versus what is the asset column that I can set up for wealth later, right? The marshmallow test, right? So if I don't own shares, and if the startup or whatever the company is, if it's a Fortune 500 company and they're not right, they're already previously established, and I don't have the negotiative power to make that pitch to them successfully, to give me shares in their ownership. Like I couldn't go to Mark Zuckerberg now. The time, as timing is a critical ingredient to successful business. Right now, it's way too late. It's decades too late to pitch to Mark Zuckerberg, hey, let me be the CMO in exchange for 10% of the in exchange for 10% of the company. But every day is a new day for other startups, right? So this is going to transition into a holding company. Right now, it's going to keep this icon for as long as it is a sole proprietorship. But the moment we transition it into an actual LLC holding company is the moment Dark Luck Studios, Norton's Mind, Norton's Gourmet, all the other companies, let's say, so I'm going to go back to this diagram. Let's say, so we'll have, so Norton's Gourmet, Norton's Mind, what are the other ones? Woven Industries. All right, and Dark Luck Studios. Or you can probably already see where I'm going with this in the diagram, right? That will then be the holding company, while each of these companies will be the subsidiaries. And what do you call that? If my son inherits Woven Industries and my daughter, well, actually maybe Omi Firm, again, this is still being fleshed out. So maybe we won't transition it. Maybe Omi Firm will remain Omi Firm, but this might become Norton's Industries, right? It's still kind of like you have Stark Industries or Wayne Enterprises, like Norton Enterprises, right? And this, you can totally do this. People do this. It's not common because it takes a lot of intellect and willpower to set this up. But like you have Wayne Enterprises, Stark Industries, so perhaps Norton Enterprises will become the holding company, and it's legally very easy to set this up, right? It's just a holding company is just simply a legal entity that is capable of buying shares of other companies. If I have built these as already money-making sole proprietorships, once we create or either transition Omi Firm into Norton's Enterprises or just leave Omi Firm as it is and just create Norton's Enterprises. It depends on how I legally want to classify, how I want to file the paperwork. Norton's Enterprises will become a holding company, and each one of these will become subsidiaries of this holding company. If my daughter inherits Omi Firm and one of my sons inherits Norton's Gourmet, and I personally keep Norton's Mind just as a personal thing because it's where I write books, in the blog. Another one of my sons inherits Woven Industries, and my friend Bjorn, who is already the CEO of DLS, Dark Luck Studios, right? So there it is, right? So what is that? That is the start of a family empire. And we've already started. So we're only one step behind this. I've been laying the bricks for this for 10 years. We are one step. We would have already been here if the shit that occurred in Alaska didn't occur, right? Two things have held us back. One, the external tragedies that occurred in Alaska that we're currently disputing in court for right now. And the first product of Woven Industries, the market demand died for it because it was COVID based. Back when we didn't understand COVID, at least the general public like me didn't understand COVID. We built the first product with the noblest of intentions, while not being a part of the conspiratorial elements of the COVID crisis. And once the truth started coming out about COVID, market demand for the U-Ray died. So we've had to restart from scratch over with Woven Industries, which is what the tech table is behind me. That said, hey, it's failure is a natural part of entrepreneurship. you know, so both Wolven Industries, the initial start of Wolven Industries failed for a variety of different reasons. That being one of them, one of the core reasons, and the other one being the meddling of how the landlord in Alaska did everything that he did. Right, it's a combination of factors. So it's natural to stumble along the way. Like what we're building as a family is not easy. But as you can see, we're just one or two steps away from doing that. And by one or two steps away, I mean a time frame of 2 to 5 years. To have this fully reach fruition. And well, there it is. Literally a multi-angular family empire. Like Weyland-Yutani Corp. Or Stark Industries. Or Wayne Enterprises. With these subsidiaries and more, right? Because once we reach a certain point, that's when we can buy the shares of other companies, right? And that's, once it's like a snowball rolling downhill. So we're going to start off with these 5, and well, there it is. And each of these companies will have their own. They do have their own respective logos. Does that answer your question, John? So like the holding company that is the owner of all of these, or at least a majority shareholder of all of these, because like I don't own DLS. My friend Bjorn owns DLS, but I'm going to be a major shareholder. Well, I am a major shareholder in DLS. Well, there it is. So the symbol is the family holding company, and each one of these are like corporate fiefdoms that my children or other members of my family will be the rulers of. All right. John says, I think the U-Ray is still a viable product, but only in mass production. You need to tap an industry. Not easy, I imagine, as a small startup. No, it's not easy at all. Yeah, correct it, Kalia. Right. It's like Endgame built in League of Legends. It just snowballs and everyone's doing crazy now. Correct. I want us to set up our trust and holding companies correctly, so this would be helpful if you had a guide or something. Well, currently I am not. I think you should actually talk to a lawyer about that, like Legal Eagle or something like that. So I don't want to I have to be very responsible about where the line of my expertise begins and where it ends. So I have not actually built a holding company just yet, and when I do, I'm not gonna pro se it. I will be utilizing a lawyer. So if I was to give you the best of advice, it would be, if I'm leading by example, if I'm going to get a lawyer, a corporate lawyer specifically for the execution of this task, then you should, if you're serious. But I could talk all day about the structure of it and what I've done so far. Josh, see ya. Josh headed out. Trust are a whole different ballgame. Yeah. Okay, so, wow, there are more people watching. Wow, there's more people watching me than I realized. They're just quiet. Hey, if you guys are silently watching, leave a comment. Let's talk. I'll turn into content. Like right now, answering Kalia's question, that's content. That's an article in and of itself. Everything I just said to John, that's an article in and of itself. So already we've got 2 articles just from this one conversation, with demonstrable video to supplement what that article will be like. What's going on here? Are the icons going to somehow mirror the parent corp? No, I don't think so. I mean, some might, but no, I don't think so. I think they're going to be like subtle clues in the details of it, like everything I just said about King Baldwin IV. Like they're going to be Easter egg elements to the icons, right? And you can already look at it like the icon for Omi Firm is the King Baldwin IV mask, right? So that's already like an Easter eggish thing. It's part of the lore of the company, of what inspired, the story of what inspired the company's creation and so on. So there will definitely be Easter eggs, but there's not going to be strict uniformity with the family logo, nor does there have to be. And the reason why is also not simply because the strategic reason for that is because there's going to be a point at which, actually no, there's not going to be a point at which we have already reached the point at which we are buying shares of other people's company. Case in point, DLS, Dark Lock Studios. That's not my company. That's Bjorn's company, right? I'm simply the CMO with the percentage of shares. So these companies, these startups that we're going to be purchasing, or at least if not the entire company, then the majority shares, or at least a significant portion of shares, if not the majority. Those icons will have already been drawn, right? So I shouldn't go into this holding company idea thinking that all the companies need to be uniform, because some of the best entrepreneurial ideas, some of the best companies, small businesses that we will want to purchase, will have already all that branding asset, squared away already by the time we get to them. Yeah, uniformity isn't necessary, just some visual tie. Well, it'll depend on our percentages of ownership. It'll depend on how much of the company, how much power we have in each of those respective subsidiaries. Okay, so I'm gonna play around to StarCraft to calm my nerves. We have more than enough content. Like, I could end the stream right now. I'm not going to. So, I'm not going to end the stream, but I could. Because that's already, we basically discussed the value of what would be 2 streams. So both were business related, both conversations were business related, and if we are having Omi Firm streams on twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that means in this one live stream alone, we've gotten all of next week's content for Omi Firm squared away. So let's see here. So I'm going to be playing StarCraft just for a few minutes, 1 round. If you guys have a question, you want to talk about business or philosophy, just let me know. Click on the 2 links in the description, and see if there's any of the content that you find on those pages worth asking about. So it says, maybe the occasional monthly-ish free topic day can get you a break by doing that. I don't understand. What do you mean? Maybe the occasional monthly-ish free topic day can get you a break by doing that. Oh, all right. So you're saying like having just a ask me anything once a month or so? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, occasionally we should have an AMA. So this is technically an open forum AMA about the content. Something comes up and you can't stream, you're covered. Yep. see here. Okay, I'm just waiting for comments. I'm going to repeat myself for anyone new that might be watching. The gaming is not the point of the live stream. If you click on the links in the description and check out the blogs there, you can see if there's anything you want to talk about in particular. How's about flow state as a future topic, achieving it more easily? Yes, I am playing StarCraft while barely looking at what I'm doing. That is correct. And if you see the number here, the APM is right there. So yes, I'm playing at about 300 APM while not even barely looking at what I'm doing and looking at comments instead. How's about flow state as a future topic, achieving it more easily or even at will, benefits and cost, that sort of thing. Okay, well, there's only but so much I can talk about flow state because I'm not a neuroscientist. I think there are people more credible to speak to about that. However, I can speak anecdotally. How's that? But I practice it so you have experience. True. But I just don't want to come off as that narcissistic kind of dude who knows, who, you know, pontificates that he knows more than he actually does. And, you know, it's like the more, it's funny how that works. Like the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's like the people who are so certain that they know so much about so much are usually idiots. But you're absolutely right. I do have experience in flow state, and I actually rely on flow state to get a lot done. Like right now, you're seeing me play at lightning speed, and you can actually see that live. You see the APM counter right now, the action per minute. Like I'm betting the average person probably can't even tell what I'm doing right now. And I'm actually multitasking, so I'm not even entering flow state at the moment because I'm splitting my attention. I'm not focused entirely on what I'm doing. I'm not focused entirely on what I'm doing. I'm just sort of like casually playing. But even me casually playing is, you know, top tier competitive gaming. And at least in comparison to a lot of people, most gamers out there in the world. Flow state. So my experiences in flow state, that's a very open-ended thing that I could talk about. I'm not sure. I have no idea what's going on. Well, StarCraft is a war game, real-time strategy war game. All right, you can play as 3 different races: the humans, what are essentially the equivalent to the predators, and the xenomorphs. Can you guess which one I generally play as? and I'm a very well. I play as the Zerg, aka the Xenomorphs, even though my playing style is actually closer to Protoss or the Predators. No, yeah, I'm messing up because I'm not paying attention. Well, I'm thinking about flow state as a topic. That is such an open-ended question. Could you get more specific about? Give me a more specific question pertaining to my experiences with flow state. Well, no, you're correct. Personality-wise, like I said, you are absolutely correct about the Predators. I would be the Predators if I hadn't started playing StarCraft when I had, right? So when I was young, like really young, like 9 years old, I thought the Xenomorphs were fascinating, even though I didn't know why. Even though I had the personality of the Protoss, the personality of the Predators. So I should have chosen Protoss, and I still can theoretically. It's just I've played the game so much that I am a Zerg player, or another. I'm a Xenomorph with a Predator personality, if that makes any sense, and a Predator's playing style, for better or worse. Okay, does it have a cost to your body, mind, or life like hyperfocus might in 80? Yes, it does, absolutely. So flow state burns through neurotransmitters. I don't remember the exact neurotransmitters offhand, but I do remember it's a combination, and those neurotransmitters run out. You have that's a finite resource. It's like you're going Super Saiyan in terms of Dragon Ball Z, and you can only sustain the state for a short amount of time. Your IQ increases, like you basically go, for lack of a better term, you go the human equivalent, the real world human equivalent of Super Saiyan. You start to process things faster, clearer. Like I said, your IQ temporarily rises. Sorry, and you get stronger, faster. Like you become hyper focused on whatever it is that you're doing, and you achieve peak performance. And there have been experiments in the military on this. There's ongoing research pertaining to it. So it's not even fully educated and certified neuroscientists completely understand flow state. But I do know this: it is not a state of mind that you can constantly produce. You need significant challenge in order. It's a state of mind that's unlocked that virtually anyone can achieve. Like you can achieve it as well, when the adequate challenge is met with your skill level, which is going to be very for everybody. And during flow state, similar to an adrenaline rush, as a matter of fact, I do believe cortisol might be a part of one of the neurochemicals that get released. Don't quote me on that. Cortisol, if you don't know what cortisol is, it's the stress hormone that is tied into adrenaline rushes, right? So, and even with adrenaline dumps, you have limits, right? So you can't constantly adrenaline dump. So it's not something that can be replicated at scale. You need the right triggers for it. And my choice of trigger is StarCraft or key other things to get me there in that state of mind. And I cannot do it because it cannot be sustained. There's always the downside of when you power down from flow state that you typically need rest, like deep sleep. And so if you overdo it, what occurs then is Pavlovian psychology pertaining to addiction. Like flow state feels absolutely wonderful. So what I have to be careful of, and of course it's not happened yet, but I just simply have to be aware of it so that it never happens, is how flow state can tie into addiction. Because once you experience it, which I'm pretty sure everyone here has at some point in their lives. I'm sure everybody has. I'm sure you have. I'm sure Kalia has. I'm sure everyone here has experienced flow state at some point in their life. They just didn't realize what it was. And you want it's when you experience, you want to stay that way. You want to keep the experience, but you can't, and that's what the hardest aspect of it. And you can fall into escapism. Just like how I use StarCraft to warm up my brain, StarCraft and chess to warm up my brain in the mornings. And it can be addicting if I achieve flow state and want to stay there, which means playing more and more StarCraft, instead of actually working productively. So you want to channel flow state into something that is actually productive. When you can achieve flow state with your actual work, that's when you do amazing things and you start to win awards and make progress. I'm very certain people like Elon Musk has figured that out about hyper progress and flow state, at least the utility of flow state. So like people mock Elon Musk because he sounds like an idiot, right? On social media often. But there's nothing about his success that is accidental. So remember what I said about flow state, and I know he neurohacks. He admits to it. Like he's taking ketamine, he's experimented with ketamine, shrooms. So he's experimented. So I know he neurohacks. So he's got to know what I'm talking about. 1 second, let me kill these guys. Fuck you, got him. That's game. Yeah, that's game. Without a doubt, when he gets into the zone at his work, his IQ undoubtedly raises. So maybe on social media, especially if you're sleep deprived, you're absolutely correct, or people are absolutely correct. Yeah, he is in fact a bit of an idiot. But that doesn't mean he's always an idiot at all hours of the day. If he's in flow state and in the zone for whatever it is, whatever project he's working on, I'm pretty sure he becomes a goddamn monster. Frightening. Yeah, the addictive side is very real. Because because it's a combination of the benefits, experiencing the benefits of flow state, wanting to keep the benefits of flow state the same way like a drug addict might want to keep the experiences of whatever high that they're feeling, and they want to continually return to it. And then how that associates in your brain with whatever caused that experience, right? Pertaining to Pavlovian psychology, right? So if I was a lesser man, I'd be that guy, and that's also what happens with a lot of gamers in reality too. That's why people get addicted to games. It's not even so much that there's a system of dopamine release built into the mechanics of the game, even though that absolutely does occur depending upon the games that what game we're talking about. It's also when you get really good at a game, any game, depending upon what your brain type is and what sort of games you prefer. You want to keep experiencing it. And that experience ties into why you'll play a game. Not you, but somebody might play a game for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end and get addicted to it. They are experiencing flow state probably multiple times throughout the day and they don't even realize it. Is losing time a symptom of flow state? Yes. Losing time, you lose your sense of time because you're so hyper focused on what you're doing. Well, okay. You say hyper-focus, almost random or arbitrary. It can be if you have no discipline. But if you understand when you go into that state, what triggers it and what doesn't, then you can ride the wave of that and masterfully apply it when you need to. I've achieved that. Because in order for me to even have this conversation, I know what causes me flow state. So I set up my daily routine to elicit or to spark flow state at the times of the day for the tasks that I want it to start for. So I've achieved that to a certain extent. People like Elon Musk have achieved that to a certain extent. It's a deep inner neurological power that virtually we all have to some extent or another. It's only random then when somebody doesn't realize what causes it, and they just don't apply critical thinking into how to experience it, and when. But the moment you're self-aware of it, you can take a lot of control over what it applies to. Okay, I'm about to end the live stream. It's been fun. So that's 3 things that we've spoken about. I might want to go more in depth pertaining to the flow state. Yeah, no need to have like a 3-hour live stream. It's already been 2 hours. Wow, time flies. So I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Okay. See you, bro. And thanks to everybody who's watching. I see 5 people are watching. At least 5 are watching on YouTube. Several people were watching on Facebook. I don't know how many people are watching on Twitter. And it's a gradual uptick in people. As people know, that's not a lot of people. That's virtually no one in the grand scheme of live streaming. But the fact is, it increases with time, and that's more than yesterday. And maybe tomorrow we'll have more. And